Okay, we've got a game 4 tonight, and we've got a game 5. The interesting thing is the series that could be over is the one that's in their game 4, and the series that is very likely to go 7 is the one that's going into game 5 tonight. But the team that wins tonight is going to have a chance to eliminate the other team in game 6. And I don't want to speculate on who's going to win this because this series has been close. The interesting thing is both series have been close. It's just when we look at the Islanders and Carolina, which is where we're going to start, Carolina just has had the luck. And at the same time, you make your own luck. Like, the goaltending has been amazing on the Carolina side of things. Their their commitment to team defense has been solid, and they've played a very, very smart game. At the same time, the Islanders completely snake bit at home in games 1 and 2 of the series. Could they have won both of them? Yes. We could be looking at a 2-1 series lead for the New York Islanders, but we're not. Game 1, Carolina won that one 1-0 in overtime. It was Stahl at 4 minutes and 4 seconds of overtime, which left Barclays in stunned silence. Mrazek, 31 saves in that game, 32 shots to 31 for Carolina. So the Carolina Hurricanes eke out a win in that one. Nothing to hang your head about if you're the Islanders for that. Game 2, Carolina won that one 2-1, and that's the one that of the 3 games in the series has to feel like it was the lost opportunity for the New York Islanders. Fogle had a goal in that one, so did Niederreiter. Barzal had the goal for the New York Islanders. The shots were 27-18 for the New York Islanders. So it has to be a frustrating evening when you limit the opposition to 18 shots and you lose. So it was a hard night for them, and for Islander faithful, another tough one because they had just witnessed a 4-game sweep of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Things are feeling pretty well, and then Carolina has to come in and ruin the party because this what Hurricanes do. Game 3, Carolina wins that one 5-2. Of course, there's empty nets that take place in that one to make it look more one-sided than it was. Bailey had a goal and an assist. Teravainen with 2 goals. Aho with a goal and an assist in that one. And the shots were 38-30 in favor of Carolina. And a very loud crowd in Carolina. And I know there's been a lot of talk about just how loud that crowd is. I don't want to get into comparing it to other crowds because I think that's just ridiculous and semantics. But yeah, I know people are going to talk about decibel levels, but I'll just leave it at just saying it. All the crowds are equal. Gosh darn it, that's the Canadian coming out in me. We like all he is. Leading scorers in the playoffs, not just in this series. Eberle leads the way for the Islanders with 4 goals, 4 assists. Bailey, 4 goals and 2 assists. Barzal, a goal, 5 assists. Lee with a goal and 3 assists, and Filppula with 4 assists. Now, the fact that Lee is sitting at 1 goal, it kind of stands out. It stands out because he is probably the best goal-scoring threat they have, and with him with 1 goal so far in 7 playoff games, they need more. And is that fair? Not necessarily. They also need more out of Nelson, who whiffed on some shots early in the series, and of course in the last game decided to pat the goalie on the head. And then there's been a lot of talk about that. And the thing is, I don't think that you can't penalize him for it. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that if Carolina had seen it, if members of the Hurricanes had seen it, it doesn't mean you just give them a free pass either. You don't put your hands on somebody else's goaltender. It's just you don't do it. I can't imagine if that was Billy Smith or Ron Hextall or Patrick Waugh, or almost anybody from yesteryear, they would have hunted him down with their stick. Hextall would have met him in the parking lot. Jacob Slavin, 11 assists. He leads Carolina in scoring. Fogle, 5 goals, 3 assists. Stahl with 4 goals, 4 assists. Teravainen, 5 goals, 2 assists. Aho, 3 goals, 4 assists. And Dougie Hamilton with 3 goals and 4 assists as well. Slavin has been an absolute standout. And maybe coming out of this series, we're going to start seeing some more respect for him when it comes to his place amongst the great defensemen in the game. I've talked about how solid Slavin is for years. I didn't know until I had a channel just how good Slavin was. I didn't really pay much attention to Carolina. And then when I started watching games for all the teams, I was like, wow, this kid's really good. Like Pesce, too. Pesce's pretty darn solid. So it's a really, really good defense core in Carolina. It's underrated. It is giving the Islanders everything that they can handle. And the Islanders, of course, finished first overall in goals against this year. Now, goaltending, Robin Lehner, 4-3, 1.69 goals against, 946 save percentage. What's interesting is they've lost 3 in a row, and the Islanders are not going to have any kind of appetite for switching goalies. We've talked a lot about how you have a 2 goaltending rotation in the NHL now, but in the playoffs, it's been Lehner's show. And I don't see any reason to go to Greiss right now, because I don't think goaltending's been the problem for Carolina over these 3 games. The fact that they've scored 3 goals in 3 games is their problem. Mrazek, 5-3 in these playoffs with a 2.22 goals against, 913 save percentage. And of course, the story with goaltending is that when Mrazek gets hurt, McElhinney steps in, and hey, look, he's 2-0 with a 1.28 goals against and a 957 save percentage. Not bad for a 35-year-old goaltender that at the start of the year, there were a lot of people who thought, hey, he's probably done. That's it. That happened. He was claimed by Carolina. That's probably it for him. That's it. He's going to get buried. I mean, they've already got Darling. They've got Mrazek. What are they going to do? They're not going to carry 3. And they waived Darling. So, Carolina Hurricanes made some good moves, and they're still benefiting from those moves. And tonight, they can make it a 4 straight over the New York Islanders and end this series. We'll see if they do. The other game of the night, of course, is St. Louis at home against the Dallas Stars. This series is now tied at 2. Now, what's interesting is Dallas tied their series at 2 against Nashville. They went into Nashville and they won Game 5, and then they went home and won Game 6. Dallas would really enjoy repeating that in this series. St. Louis, I think, is playing a little better than what Nashville was. Game 1 of this series, St. Louis won that one 3-2. Ben and Spezza each had a goal in that game. Tarasenko, of course, had 2 goals, including the beauty that St. Louis fans absolutely loved a lot. Shots were 29-20 for Dallas in that game. So Dallas really kind of sort of outplayed them in Game 1, but it doesn't matter. St. Louis gets the goals, St. Louis gets the win, and that's how it works. Game 2, Dallas won that one. Rope Hintz with 2 goals and an assist in that one. Parayko with a goal and an assist, and the shots were 35-34 for Dallas. And Hintz has been a revelation in these playoffs. Not going to pretend he hasn't been, because he has. And I think that what he's done in these playoffs, I think it's made him kind of a Dallas legend on some level. Now, Game 3, St. Louis eats into that legend with a win, right? Because then they go up 2-1. They win in Dallas. Get back home ice advantage, which is where it comes in tonight. Schwartz and Bozak, a goal and an assist for them. Cogliano, Sagan, Radulov, each of them had a goal for the Dallas Stars. The shots were 34-31 for St. Louis. So for the first time in the series, the shots favor St. Louis. 29-20 for Dallas, 35-34 for Dallas, and now 34-31 for St. Louis. So, excellent road game by St. Louis. They end up getting the win. And for Dallas, there went their chance to maintain home ice advantage. And then going into Game 4, it's a matter of, oh God, don't go down 3-1. You don't want to be going to St. Louis down 3-1. And clearly they got that message because they win the game 4-2. O'Reilly with 2 assists. Zuccarello, Sagan, Radulov all had 2 assists in that game for Dallas. Zuccarello and Sagan clearly have some good chemistry together. I would really like to see Matt Zuccarello re-signed by Dallas. And I know the odds of that, but still, I'd love to see Zuccarello stay with the Dallas Stars. And I know there's Ranger fans who would love to see him back in New York as well. But he's fit in so quickly and so well with the Dallas Stars. He's bought into the system right away. Dallas did outshoot St. Louis 31-29 in that series, but all the way through, there's a minimum minimum of 1 shot that separates them, maximum of 3 if you don't include the first game in there. So the last 3 games, the shot totals have been very close. The play's been very close. The scores have been close. This series, you can't get a hair between these two teams in terms of how they're playing. Leading scorers in the playoffs for Dallas: Radulov, 5 goals, 4 assists. Sagan, 3 goals, 6 assists. Zuccarello also has 3 goals, 6 assists. Ben, 2 goals and 7 assists. Hintz, 5 goals, 3 assists for him. Like I said, been a great playoffs for him. Klingberg, 2 goals and 6 assists for him on the St. Louis side of things. Pietrangelo leads them at a goal and 8 assists. It's been scoring by committee for St. Louis, really. Schwartz, 6 goals, 2 assists. O'Reilly, 2 goals, 6 assists. Parayko, 1 goal, 5 assists. Tarasenko has 5 goals. Perron, 2 goals, 3 assists. And Bozak with 2 goals, 3 assists for the St. Louis Blues. And then Bouwmeester also has, I think, 5 assists, which kind of gets not talked about as much as it otherwise would. Bouwmeester's had a very good playoffs. He really has. After a season that was inconsistent, great at times, bad at times as well, he's had a very good playoffs. Goaltenders: Bishop, 6-4 with a 2.24 goals against and a 931 save percentage. Solid playoffs for him. If he can play tonight like he did in Game 4, St. Louis has some problems. On the St. Louis side of things, Binnington, 6-4 as well. 2.8 goals against, average 906 save percentage. And he did lose his cool in that last game. Last game, St. Louis as a team seemed to lose their cool, but Binnington definitely did. And when they asked him about the slash across the back of Bishop, he just said it's a hockey play. Not sure how, but anyways, it's one of those things that we see the temperature turn up more and more during each game. What are we going to see in Game 5? Are we going to see a very smart game played by both teams, very few penalties, or are we going to see these guys come out emotional and trying to prove themselves and a lot of this could be a very, very interesting game tonight, and whoever comes out of this game with the win, odds are wins the series. So tonight probably decides who wins the series. But we'll see, right? And it's that close. And like I said, the Islanders, nothing to lose. If they're going to get a game at Barclays, they have to win tonight. There you go. You guys are all set up for tonight's games. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you're just tapping upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.